and a warm welcome to this festive video from All Racing. The team have selected the Boxing Day selections ready for you, which I'll deliver in a minute. But it's firstly to say best wishes to all of you and your families that follow our page, and thank you for doing so. Hopefully we've helped you with a few winners along the way. As we always say, we're just putting our opinions and views across. You can choose to go with them or not, but hopefully let's try and see if the team can get some Boxing Day cash in the bank. I think, having looked at some of the selections, it looks a good day's racing, and hopefully there's plenty of winners to be had. Right, we're going to kick off at Kempton in the first race. Nobody has a particular selection of sorts, so I won't be really going into it in too much detail. But I thought that Broomfield Berg last time at Cheltenham looked a horse still going in the right direction, even though he got beat. And Nicky Henderson was quite bullish about that not really taking too much out of the horse, and hopefully that can go well in the first. But no real selection from the team. The first team selections come in the next race. So I'll start with Steve, who's a Danny Kirwan fan. This horse burst on the scene at Kempton a couple of years ago, actually, I think it was. Excuse me. Looked an absolute real machine of a horse, almost I think it was a juvenile at the time. Really cantered, looked a really good prospect for the Nichols Yard, and Adela Hay as connections. Hadn't really kicked on and over hurdles, flattered to deceive by the time that season would finish. Now over fences, he just looks a better animal. I would say this, he's got the odd blip in him in terms of his jumping, but he's got a good cruising speed. This sort of distance round this sort of track could possibly show plenty of improvement, and you can see why Steve fancies Danny Kirwan, so that's his first selection. I quite like winning here, and I know that Tom Lacey was a bit miffed about the price of Sebastopol. I don't know why any trainer would ever get miffed about the price of their horse, really. Their job, I know they like to have a little few quid on, but Tom Lacey is a real shrewdy himself anyway. This horse appeared to have a bit of seconditis, and he was one to follow as opposed to beyond. Last time out, though, he was for sure going to win his race at Kempton over this course and distance, I think it was. Popped the last, sprinting away from his rivals, and unfortunately probably got set alight at the last. He jumped the fence pretty well. It's just his landing gear let him down over the last, and he was honestly absolutely full of running. And I thought that day was a good chance to see whether or not I think it was a prep run for this. He's obviously well treated, judged on that. I think he can go well. He's obviously got a liking for the course and distance, having the way he travelled and jumped all the way around. It was just the landing gear, as I said, and I thought Sebastopol was an absolute knocking opportunity to go well. I just want to say that Nicky Henderson, for some reason or another, Bothwell Bridge is shorter in the betting. Nico's on board, I appreciate that, but he seemed a little bit more sort of like he had something up his sleeve with Mr. Coffee today, actually. I think the step up in trip will suit. Ran quite nicely last time over 2 miles at Newbury. That was a decent run. It didn't finish too far off the winner that day, and he definitely ran on. So I can see that will go well. But Danny Kirwan for Steve, Sebastopol for me are the only real actual selections in the race there. In the next, we've got a bit of difference of opinion within the camp. So I'll bring in Mark Blackford here with his first selection. He likes Ahoy Senor. I mean, the way he done that at Newbury last time was, in the end, quite breathtaking, really. The way he sprinted to the line. He's obviously full of gears. A horse with absolutely bags of ability. I believe that he is definitely, it's a match race anyway, but I believe that the key to this one today is going to be the jumping. Kempton is about jumping. Newbury, you get away with it a little bit because you can come back into the race, a bit of rhythm, long home straight, etc., etc. At Kempton, if you're not jumping great, you can find some serious issues around there. I suppose the fact it's only a 4-horse race, excuse me, not COVID, I promise, tested. I suppose it's only a 4-horse race, which does sort of alleviate some of the jumping concerns, because he should be able to get back into a rhythm should he jump poorly. But I watched that race at Newbury. He hit or jumped badly at 6 of them. I don't think he'll be able to do that round here. He just will not be able to do that round here. What you do have in the opposition, which is for me and Tom, Brave Man's Game, both like Brave Man's Game, and you are talking 10 to 11, 11 to 10, the rest, basically. Brave Man's Game, in his armoury, is jumping. Absolutely, clearly, a outstanding jumper. He loves to just stand off them, come in between the wings, run his race, and I could see why that would be a big reason to follow him, to be honest. And I think that's what gives him the edge for me, and I'd imagine the bookmakers as well, looking at the prices, but there's not a lot between them. A Hoist and Yours should go off in front. I'd imagine, I'm just thinking about the tactics of the race, should go off in front, try and make all. I think Brave Man's Game will just creep, and try to pick this one off 2-3 out and try to go away from it and ping the last and run. Hoist and Yours did beat Brave Man's Game at Aintree, but by that time I think Brave Man's Game had a really tough season in all. Didn't probably arrive there in 100% nick, and Hoist and Yours was absolutely kept for that. So probably the reason why we ended up with that situation over the reversal. But I just think they're two quality horses. Mark for Hoist and Yours, Tom, me, Brave Man's Game. I think there's a fag paper between them in all, but hopefully one of them lays down a marker for that big one in March at Cheltenham. The 2:30. I mean, one thing I will say about the Kempton cards, they're really disappointing in terms of the numbers of races and the quality as well, to be honest. So we've got the Ladbrokes Christmas Hurdle. Always seems to be a small field these days. Epatante was a nice winner of this a couple of years ago, then didn't really do anything last year. Didn't do anything of note in the race. Flattered to Deceive, hit 3 or 4 out, but didn't just hit it, smashed it. This season, come back. I'm just not convinced that that's a good piece of form in the Fighting Fifth. Not So Sleepy. I don't want to cramp Not So Sleepy, because he is 160 rated, official rated. On the weights, with the weight reversal, there isn't a lot between them according to the ratings. I'm just not sure whether Epatante is a regressive type now. She is 7 years old, so she shouldn't be, or whether she needs to step up in trip or something. Because I just think that she should have won that should have won that at Newcastle last time out in the Fighting Fifth. Not So Sleepy is not a bad horse at all. Tritonic is a really nice animal, really nice animal, and I would say that horse, only being a 4-year-old still, has got loads of improvement to do. 147 rated, so got a bit to find with the front two in the market, that's for sure. But could do it. That performance at Ascot 1 week ago, though, it looked to me like that was a tough enough race in a hot handicap. Hopefully that one doesn't bounce. I would take a tentative vote, that just because I think the pace is guaranteed with Not So Sleepy in there. I think Soaring Glory, they're talking about it needing big fields. It doesn't need big fields. It just needs a real gallop. And if he gets a good gallop, I'd be prepared to ignore that last run, because I think that run was nothing more than a crawl for 3/4 of the trip and then a sprint. And I don't think that suits Soaring Glory. A good gallop, a nice finishing opportunity. I think Kempton could be a perfect track for Soaring Glory. And I just think that at the prices, I would sooner back Soaring Glory than I would any of the others. In the last, in the big one, the King George. So start with Steve's selection here. Flanders Oboe, dual winner of this race, ran well enough in it last year, although the bounce factor clearly caused that one a problem after its exertions at Haydock. Been kept pretty fresh for this one. Did have that run at the back end at Punchestown, where he went and beat all of the best of the Irish at that point that were available to run. He's a high-class individual, really high-class individual. At 9 years old, he is at the peak of his powers. He's just not a Gold Cup horse. This is his race every year, a bit like Bristol Demar used to farm the Betfair Hurdle for 3 or 4 years and what have you. This is what Paul Nicholls aims at with Flanders Oboe. If he's in the nick of his life, will go very, very well, and I can see why Steve likes that one. For the rest of us, I must say, we're all on the same horse, and it's Asterion for launch for Willie Mullins. Now, the record of this one is not necessarily one for as a reliable what you call as a reliable chaser. However, clearly got loads of ability, travels supremely well through races, definitely better going right-handed. So that's a positive. Kempton, I just think it could suit. If it gets into a rhythm, it could suit. There is a slight concern that the opposite could happen, but I think Willie has earmarked this race. He has, or had, 5 or 6 bullets to fire at this race, and he's chose Asterion for launch as his one to go at. This step up in trip is sure to suit. He's always been running over an inadequate distance for me, always looking stronger at the end of his races than he does more or less at the beginning or middle. I think that all of us really like the idea of this one being a lovely grade coming there. The one you have to mention as well, in line with Asterion for launch's form, is Chantry House, who does have the better of this one, both over hurdles and over fences so far. Chantry House is a class horse. I can't think of a JP McManus horse that's won the King George certainly in recent years, or if there ever has been one. So I know JP has always wanted to have one in the race. So this could be his one for this year. Fakir Duderis was the other one that for Joseph O'Brien that could have been aimed at and to be kept in Ireland. So for the team, Clandersobo for Steve, Asterion for launch for the rest of us, me, Tom and Mark. Should be an absolute world-class race. So much talent in there. That is chase race of the season so far for me. So just sit back and enjoy if you're not having a bet, but best of luck, whichever one you follow. And then I'm going to probably cut my own throat again. I'm going to put up Maria's Rock with a step up in trip. Hopefully, I followed this one and I'm not going to give up on her. She's got loads of ability and talent. Just coming into it in the Greatwood, just again didn't have that gear. She seems to be held up, come, creep, and just hasn't been able to get there over 2 miles. Step up and trip, I'm thinking will bring out loads of improvement. Maria's Rock in the last. Okay, over to Weatherby. Right, okay, so first thing to say, Sam, our trainer of our horse, has got 4 runners today. One over at Market Raisin, Russian service, a really solid individual. That one goes well. When back at the right mark, always gives its running. Probably somewhere near with Danny Burton on board today. Danny's riding really well, so little shout out to him. He's doing really well. But he has got 3 at excuse me. He has got 3 at Weatherby. The first one is in the mares race. Huge price. Excuse me, as I look, is now a non-runner, so we won't cover that one. Okay, so we go to the last 2 races of the day, where the Brimming Water, bought from Ireland, come over, running very, very well, 120 rated, probably somewhere near fair, I would say. Got plenty of ability, good form in the book. If he gets his run of the race, we should go very well, although excuse me, the Skelton horse obviously will be expected to win after his last run at Cheltenham, which, let's be honest, was a great performance. But the Brimming Water is a really nice horse. But in the last race at Weatherby today, this horse has been smashed up, and I hope some of you got on early doors like we did, like I did a couple of days ago on the Market Form. Ballybreeze, just a bit of a backstory from, I suppose, on Sam's behalf, really. When they got this horse, Joe Drinkwater as well, I think, bought it. Real family sort of situation. They brought the horse through and sort of pre-trained it, got it from the point to point, which it should have won by about 30, 40 lengths if it wanted to. This horse has got tons of ability, been running in really hot company, so no disgrace in sort of where it's finished in those races. Ran pretty well last time to finish 4th. 111 is its rating. I think all involved would be gobsmacked if he's not much better than that come the end of this season, and what he could be over fences next season, etc., etc. Really nice horse. He should go very, very well in a slightly softer ground as well, which means that he should get the run of the race. There's plenty of pace in there, which is what he's going to need. I just think he's been smashed off the boards, and I think it'll win. And I think all involved probably do as well. So there we are. There's that. Right, over it. Excuse me, this cough. Okay. So the Faheen Novice Chase at Limerick. Excuse me. Steve likes one, really likes one, and so do I. Same horse. Farouk Delane, both actually fancied this. I think we both tipped up last season at some point. This looked as if it was going to be one of Elliot's stable stars last year. He really likes this horse. This Novice Chase is absolutely perfect. Limerick, really good place to start your horses. Elliot always starts some good ones there, especially at this time of year. The race is quite, it's cut up with some of the others coming out, but Farouk Delane, again, one of your shorties for one of your accas, but I think he'll win. Could go on to bigger and better things. As in Limerick. And we got some good races at Leopardstown. We got the Knight Frank Juvenile Hurdle. Again, Gordon Elliott, absolutely bullish about a couple of his in here. Phil Dorr is one that he's probably spoken about a fair bit, so I don't need to do much talking about that one. I think that if Phil Dorr puts in a repeat of his previous performance, he'll have to go well. And then the Racing Post Novice Chase. It's Fernie Hollow versus Revere d'Etel with Core Sublime. And bar those, it doesn't look much of a race. But Fernie Hollow, so last time visually, I don't think he was all that impressive. However, if you go back and look at the way he sprints from the bottom of the straight there to the top, this one's got plenty of gears. He's got very, very, very good form behind him. He has beaten all of the best Irish novices over hurdles, and now he's looking to do the same over fences. He didn't look a natural to me over fences, and that would be my one concern, one big concern. But Fernie Hollow must go well in that one. I think he gets beat today. I think he gets beat in the receipt of that weight. Revere d'Etel has got better form in the book than him, and I think that will be what tells on the day. The weight. Revere d'Etel beat Cape Gentleman by 21 lengths at Punchestown. Again, I think Gordon Elliott it'll be a Gordon Elliott benefit day over in Ireland State. I know Willie's got some good runners as well, and there'll be plenty of Mullins hot pots that go in, the shorties in some of the maiden hurdles, etc. But I really, really like this one, and I think that it'd be absolutely amiss of me to not mention it. And finally, the final race I'm going to talk about is the Pertemps Network Handicap Hurdle over down at Wincanton. Now, I think that there's a great chance that Dame de Company, back in this company, is being lined up for a tilt at this race in March. Henderson sort of highlighted, he only has to finish in the first 6 to qualify. And that is always a worry with these Pertemps qualifiers, it has to be said. However, I just think that this one, with say £7, Nathan Brennan's a good £7 claimer, taking that off. I think this one's going to be pretty well in. She's been chasing pretty much the last year or so, back over hurdles off a nice mark. I just think that this has already got, we know what JP McManus likes to have in the Pertemps. He's always got 3 or 4 in there. I just think this is one of them that he's going to be lining up, and I expect it to go much better at 10 to 1. He's at absolute knocking price, and I think that on good ground as well, around 3 miles round there is absolutely spot on. So I can see it going really well. Dame de Company. That's pretty much it from the team. I just want to make sure that we've covered the selections from everybody. So I'll just run back through those. So we've got to start with Mark Blackford. So I must go back actually. Must cover the Roland Merrick in a second. So for Mark, Ahoy Senor, Epatante, Asterion Forlange. He also liked Cloudy Glen each way in the Roland Merrick, which I'll go back to in a second. Okay, for Steve, Danny Kerwin, Clanders Oboe, Ballybreeze, Farouk Delane. For Tom Drinkwater, that is Brave Man's Game, Asterion Forlange and Ballybreeze, tipping up their own horse. Take note, I would say. And then let's go back to very quickly go back to the Royal Americas. That will be one of the featured races on ITV. Okay, so yeah, he's gone for Clyde Glen. So Clyde Glen, for those that you might remember, ran an absolute blinder to win the Ladbrokes recently. Has gone up £10 in the weights. Did he win like he had £10 in hand? That's up to you. I thought he won that very cosily, and he's beaten a lot of really good horses in doing so on that day. And I would be very, very surprised if he's not in the mix at least. The Trevor Hemmings colours are represented twice in a race. Lakeview Lad, who's always good at this time of year, worth catching, won this race in 2018, so you couldn't dismiss it out of hand. The one that I'm going to put up, and I forgot to mention it, is Windsor Avenue. This horse has cost me an absolute fortune, to be honest, over the last few years. However, his performance last time at Bangor was very near the best performance he's put up over fences, and proved his well-being. Got beaten by Snow Leopardess that day, which we know full well about what that horse has done. Black Lion it beat that day as well. Canelo, just loads of really smart sort of handicap chasers that pitch in and around this level. And I just, listen, I thought that Windsor Avenue could back that up, been kept fresh, had a break. £3 claimer off, the weight looks right, looks like it could go well, but I definitely respect Mark's view on Clyde Glen. That could go well, guys. Keep an eye. Okay, so there we have it. That's the selections for today. Whatever you're doing with your family, friends. Also, I have to highlight, I disagree with Jurgen Klopp when he says that football shouldn't take part at this time of year. Absolutely, I love you, Klopp, but absolutely it's nonsense. It's Boxing Day. It's a day for sport, whether you're male, female, wherever you are. Enjoy it. Pick plenty of winners. Raid those bookies and come back and let us know how you got on. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.